Three steps, one bullet, and blood filled eyes. A scream left past Ryan's lips in between the time. The bullet left the gun and reached her father. A man having the experience of years wouldn't be able to do what Jungkook did in that small window of time. The bullet that was aimed for Eugen's head grazed past his temple, leaving him alive, just because of Ryan's horrified scream that told Jungkook she didn't want this. Just because her wife couldn't accept this, he would be a man and suffer himself, but not hurt his wife. The desire to kill the old man right there was insane, but Jungkook moved his aim in a flash of second and spared his life. Eugen grunted and fell back on chair. He might be alive, but the bullet still grazed the side of his head, so slightly, yet it was enough to make him bleed. One breath, two breaths, three breaths. The blood in his eyes made everything blurred. Then he moved. Ignoring everything, he moved to his wife and held her ever so gently. The marks on her wrist, the fingerprints on her cheek. Oh, he was mad again. Wine, baby. Take a deep breath. Her soft, angelic, and heavenly voice melted in his ears. He did as she said and kissed her cheek. Behind him, he could hear Bora panicking, while Eugen was too shocked to think straight and kept screaming in disbelief. Zangu, does it hurt? She shook her head. She did it for him. To calm him down, lying nothing was painful, but her heart was in pain. After what her parents did, Ryan, let's not kill anyone. Hmm? He closed his eyes and she cupped his cheeks. One touch by her, and his violence had evaporated in thin air. Jungkook pulled back a chair and made Ryan sit. Then he stood beside her in a way that showed she was the queen, and he was her devil. You have to go through him to get to her, and that was impossible. Jungkook, if you're done screaming, get in your seats. I'm not a very patient man. Don't make me repeat. I'm sure you won't think anymore. I'll let you go because you're a family. Because, yes, I won't. Bora swallowed in fear and took a seat beside her husband. They were scared. Way too scared. Jungkook, what was the matter, sweetheart? He turned his whole attention to his wife. Bora, we just came to meet you. But Eugene got mad anyways. It was his fault. I'm sorry about that. There is nothing else. Eugene, yes, my fault. I shouldn't have gotten mad. I'm sorry, Vine. You're my little girl. Forgive your dad, hmm? Jungkook, I told you. Don't make me repeat. People never listen, do they? Jungkook felt Vine's hand stroking his arm gently, and her touch was the only reason he was standing there instead of torturing that man who laid a hand on his wife. Bora, please. It was stupid of us. Whatever it was, we take it back. Let us go. We'll never come back. Jungkook looked down at Ryan and she knew that look. He was losing his patience. Ryan, they wanted me to divorce you and marry someone from their business who offered them some good business deal and money if they get me to marry him. And if not, then they wanted you to give them the money so they won't bother us anymore. Jungkook laughed. He found it extremely stupid that anyone could think he was ever going to let his wife go to marry someone else. It was ridiculous. And like that, his laugh was gone, replaced by his stoic expression again, as he stopped in front of Yujun. Jungkook, who is he? Yujun, Blake. He is an investor. He said instantly, and Jungkook nodded. Jungkook, you have 1 minute to collect your wife and get out. If I hear from you again, I won't spare mercy. Bora and Yujin ran away, and somehow Wine felt no ounce of guilt for them. She had handled enough abuse her whole life, and this just crossed every limit. Jungkook picked her up in his protective, strong arms and took her back to her bedroom. He put her in his lap as he took a seat and tightened his arms around her in an attempt to hide her in his embrace as he kissed her head. Jungkook, I'm sorry. I should have been there. Ryan, baby, please. You can't be guilty for someone else's actions. I don't feel good like this. His anger was long gone and he was all soft to provide his wife with the affection she deserved. Jungkook, I promised to protect you. Ryan, and you did. You always did. And you just protected me now too. I love you. You know that. He hummed and kissed her head multiple times. Jungkook, I love you too. I'll always love you. You were the one to teach me how to love, after all. She pulled away, cupped his cheeks, and pecked his lips. Every time he saw the handprint on her cheek, it just took him so much to control himself. So he placed his lips there, kissed her cheek, and then again and again, all over to her temple and down to her jaw and neck. She giggled as the kisses tickled her, and he smiled at the beautiful laugh. He then held her wrist and gave it the same treatment, rubbing in circles, to help blood circulation, so the marks will disappear. Jungkook, take a shower. You reek of that human. She laughed and rolled his eyes, throwing her above his shoulder, and walked to washroom. Ryan, hey, go back to work. You had meetings. Jungkook, they can go to hell. Let's shower together. He placed her on the counter. Ryan, stop being a lazy, unproductive human. Too bad. Taking days off your work will provide for me. She joked. Jungkook leaned down to her level, putting hands on both sides of her own counter. Jungkook, darling, you're forgetting I'm the boss. What do you want? Tiffany's and Co? Chanel. a Birkin, or a jet. Name it. Fine. She is. Rich people. He chuckled and picked her up again, walking to the shower, and they both took one together. Jungkook made sure to ask his guards to not let her parents in any of his property, or near Wine if she goes out. He also found this Blake guy, who dared to have his eyes on his wife, and made him disappear from the map of this world. He stayed home for the day beside her, and they did domestic things like a husband and wife, in the kitchen preparing to the lounge, all cuddled up in blanket, watching comedy movie and laughing at the top of their lungs, to the closet fixing the clothes. He never left her side even for a moment.